Hello and welcome to Retro Cars Reborn. I'm Lee, and if you're new here and are interested in retro cars and classics and what it takes to keep them on the road, start by clicking the subscribe button, clicking the bell so you can keep up with everything that I release. And with that, on with the video. So I wrote right hand side on this wing rail, and then for some reason wrote left hand side on that side of it, despite it being actually the right hand side. Started off by just chopping this little piece out so it's a perfect little slot over the headlamp bowl, and then it nicely sits on the back just there, look. And as you can see, it looks gorgeous. Now, I was praising these Magnum panels because all the other bits are dead good, and I bought these wing rails so I wouldn't have much trouble. Well, I shall show you the first problem with this wing rail. If we go over to the right hand wing and just tip it, and then do that. Well, yeah, if we go over to the wing, this is where this is going to sit. It's going to sit on the inside. That's the back side of it. It's supposed to sit on this rail here. If we slide it into place and then pin it down there, look at that. It's never ever been anywhere near the same shape as this wing. Granted, it would be a little bit further forward like that, but again, look, nowhere near. No matter where you put it, that's never been right. So a little disappointed with the fact that they've just curved it, and look at it, it's never been the same curvature as this wing. Not even if you get the wrong side does it even come close. Look at it, mental. But I've not had to shape these pieces of metal, they are the shape they need to be. Just that curve is so wrong. So that's going to be my first problem, is trying to get this to match this, because even if you put it where the original wing rail was at the front, look, so it's perfectly running across it, and then it just dips. So I'm so thankful there's still a little bit of wing rail on each front and each back. So I'm hoping what I can do is put a slit up here so it'll allow me to pull this back piece up. But at the minute, what I'll do is I will make measurements along here where it's still looking decent. See, up to about there it's still decent. And we'll do the same along the wing. I will put it across the wing and again make measurements up until where it still looks fine. Chop it, turn it up, probably chop it again, turn it up till it perfectly matches this. Perfectly matches the wing, and then I'll know that that's where it needs to be welded on. I'm still deciding whether to just lap it over the side to give all this some extra strength, even though it's going to get that strengthening panel on here. We shall see, because I dare say this is still decent. It would just require just chopping this edge off to get it on. Decisions. So I'll do some more measuring and I'll come back to you. Yeah, some measurements later, one cut later, and it's installed. Makeshiftly, just got the Clecos holding it in at the minute. But yeah, it's nice and flush. It is flush. all the way to the back. It's now just a case of deciding how to fix it. Either cut all that out and try and shape it, or I mean, I can't even just tack it across the top because the metal that's there doesn't reach unless it's completely cut off flush. This one's definitely going to be some research on how to fit this. But yeah, it's a good fit though. It's on. And there's the original. That's the original piece there. It's not too bad. Obviously it needs to be. It's going to be a mill level once the original bits are removed completely. But again, do I cut all that out and fit this? The next problem being, obviously, they give you so much extra metal that it comes over. I mean, up here it's not too bad. Up there it'd be a perfect way to just blend it in all the way to that back piece. I'd probably cut it just before that. Probably cut it just before that bit there. So I didn't need that piece. But yeah, this bit here all needs grinding back, and we'll have to see what's underneath. So there we are at the minute. It's in place. Do some more measurements, and I'll show you what's coming next. Right then, these wing rails are turning into a bit of a biatch, turning into a bit of a sukkah. They are dreadful. So they've got a curve here, and if I go into that curve, I've got to curve this piece. So I'm just trying to stay above that curve now. So I'm literally just, the dilemma is whether I just cut this little tiny piece off the bottom of here, probably either up to that second mark or that first mark there, and then lose that entire back piece there because I've already reconstructed it. So that's where we are at the minute. More measuring, a little bit of splicing, a little bit of cutting here and there, but it's starting to look decent. Like it's got wing rails again, so that's a plus. And I'm thinking what I'm going to have to do to attach them is there's a 45-degree welding method that I've only seen done. I've never attempted it, but I'm going to have to on this one. So what you do is you just tack it on in a place all the way down, and then you cut with an angle grinder 45-degree angle at where it's joined, then weld it, then cut it, then weld it, then cut it, then weld it. So what it does is, instead of you leaving a mill missing out of it, it allows you to leave a little chamfer on the back piece and on the front piece, so that they basically make a perfect lap. But we'll see about doing that, because I'm not too sure if you can do it at an angle and then do it straight. But at the minute it's too high because I'm sitting on what's left of the original wing rail, which I'll have to cut off to get it perfect. So I'm going to continue doing the boring bits off screen, and then I'll come back to you all. So this is what you're supposed to do, just tack it every so often. As you can see, some of them were useless and didn't work. Tack it ever so often so the rail is now in place. And like I say, now I'm supposed to cut underneath it at like a 45-degree angle underneath. So then it's got something to sit on. We shall we'll see how it goes in a minute. But I've got to the point where this overlapped piece now, I just need to cut this out here. That bit becomes flush. I'll just cut that piece out, and then I'll get into attempting this little technique. All I'm going to say is cutting at this 45-degree angle from one spot weld to the next spot weld to the next one is a lot harder in actual practice than it is in looks. But this is what you basically get. You've got a little ridge that runs across, and then it disappears because it all gets pushed into one. You see how it's becoming one at the beginning of this spot weld and getting a thicker way across. So basically it allows it to be pushed in and sit perfectly flush, but it's a lot harder to actually do than it is to watch somebody else do it. So I might look at another technique for doing the other side, literally just cutting it maybe and splicing it in. We shall see. I am definitely not enjoying putting these wing rails on, so if anyone's going to do it, it's an atrocious job. Terrible. Right, more on the super amazing technique. So as you cut your 45-degree angle and then weld it, the overlap piece is cut out, leaving the nicely fresh brand new metal in there. So it's kind of cool, but really difficult at the same time. So I'll crack on, and you shall hopefully see the overall result, and I will let you know if it's any good, because I mean it looks amazing, and I'll even put a link to the video of the other YouTuber that used it, and is a way better welder than I am. So I'm not going to try and say the technique's awful, it's just really difficult if you've never done it before. So yes, I will show you the end result. You can look at it from a better angle now. So as you can see, slowly becoming all fresh metal, and that's the old stuff there. Look. Eventually, once you've cut that 45-degree angle all the way through, there'll be all this nice fresh metal in its place. Fresh metal. Whoa, stop everything. Important safety announcement. If this happens to any of your discs, please take them off. Don't continue to use them. I don't want anybody out there to lose their eyes, their arms, part of the face or anything. Wear a mask at all times. Leave the guard on at least. I mean, I can't say anything really, but the guard for me gets in the way for doing stuff like this. But yeah, if this happens to a disc, please take it off. Don't continue to use it. Just seeing how bad the wings are as well. Like literally, I don't know if I can get it on camera at all. There's no zoom on this camera. But basically, where this is running along the wing rail, if I put my hand up the inside of the wing, I can literally put my fingers on top of the wing rail because the wing sits too far in. So maybe there's been a little bit of distortion in the wing rail and it needs to be pulled in this way a bit and straightened up, but I won't know till I've ground the weld back and got the angle on it and see if it's straight or not. But it's definitely on, and it looks so much better than it did. It's a shame I can't really get how good it looks on this camera. But yeah, it's on. Bit more fettling. I'll take the wing off in a second and I'll show you it fitted. So there we go. That's it without the wing on. Just needs a little bit more grinding down, but I can do that off camera. I'm going to fit the other one off camera as well, because this video became really long and it took a long time, as you can probably tell with how cold it is in here. That was one of the deciding factors on why it became a really long video, and production was so long on it as well. Cold. So yeah, comments welcome, subscribe, leave us a like, and I shall see you in the next one.